Now that we've got that CSS library linked up, we're going to start to write a little bit of JSX into our app component inside the index.js file. Remember, for right now, we're going to take a naive approach to this, and we're just going to write out a bunch of kind of raw JSX inside of here, probably end up copy-pasting it a couple times to get that list of 3 different comments that we eventually want to end up with. So let's get to it. We're going to have to write out a pretty good amount of JSX here, so it's going to be a decent amount of typing. Please try to make sure that you spell everything correctly and just do a quick double check when you're all done. So I'm going to first begin by removing that div that we started off with, and then I'll replace it with a set of parentheses and open it like so. Remember, anytime that we want to place a big block of JSX, we usually are going to end up putting a set of parentheses and then putting our JSX inside there. Okay, so now inside of here, I'm going to first begin with a div that has a class name of UI container comments. And then I'll close that div off like so. All right, easy enough to get started. Next, we'll do a div with a class name of comment. So this right here is going to be a div that represents one single comment by itself. Then inside there, I'm going to put a anchor tag with an href of /. So this is essentially going to be a link that takes us nowhere whatsoever because we don't have any navigation going on just yet. And then I'll give it a class name of avatar. Then inside of that anchor tag, I'm going to make sure I close it off like so. I'm going to place an image in there. I'll give it an alt text just in case our image does not load up correctly, and I'll give the alt text something like avatar. Now we don't really have any images to load up just yet, so for right now, I'm not going to put on any src property. So I'll just close off the image like so. We're going to put an image in there in just a moment, but we'll get around to that. Okay, so now next, after that anchor tag, so underneath the anchor, I'm going to put a div with a class name of content, like so. I will again close that div off. And then we're going to put just a handful of tags in here very quickly. So I'm going to do another anchor tag with an href of / and a class name of author. I'll close that anchor tag off, and then I'll give it some text. Let's have it say something like, I don't know, what do you think would be good? Let's have it have a name of something like Sam. That'll work out just fine. So this is going to be the author's name. Then after that, I'll put a div. So notice again, I'm outside the anchor tag. I want to do a class name of metadata. I'll close off that div as well. Inside of there, I'll put a span with the class name of date. I'll close off the span. And then inside there, I'll put the time or how long ago this thing was posted. So I'll say that maybe this comment was made today at 6 p.m., like so. And then finally, the very last part, I'll do a div with the class name of text. And this is going to be the actual comment body. So I'll do something like nice blog post, like so. Okay, so that's a pretty good amount of typing. So I'm going to save this right now. And then I'll flip back over to my browser very quickly and check out my application. Now, if you see any error message appear right here, then that means that you very likely made a typo as we were putting together this HTML, or excuse me, this JSX. At this point, it very much looks like HTML because we're not doing anything special with it. So if you see an error message, look at the error message very closely. Chances are you might have forgot to close off some tag by forgetting to put on a closing brace like so, or you might have neglected to put in a / or something like that. So just do a quick double check, and I'm sure you'll find the error somewhere inside of here. All right, so this is looking pretty good. We've now got our first little comment put together. But we definitely have to make sure that we get a little image in there for the avatar as well. So let's take a quick pause. When we come back to the next section, we'll start putting a little image in there, and then we'll duplicate this comment down 3 times. And then after that, we'll talk about how we could refactor it into separate components. So quick break, and I'll see you in just a moment.